So welcome here to our secure project. We are Carlos Estrada and Eric Gonzalez. In this security project, we evaluated the second module. We will be presenting in the table of contents in which we divide the the five stages. First, the physical security of the server, the environment in which it will be um, implemented, and after this we have the three most important modules to secure the server security, the Apache security, and the security tests once we implemented the Apache. So first, we'll start with the physical security. For the physical security implementation, we propose three basic solutions. The first one is to lock the server in a safe physical place, in which we prevent unauthorized people from physically accessing the server by locking the entrance to the server. Another solution is the badging system, in which we can implement a badging mechanism to access the physical location to have a server, in order to have a log of access to implement this accountability. Also, we can hold the accountability, or we can hold someone accountable by having them in video. With the closed circuit TV, there's another way to implement this accountability. In case of an attack, it can be held. So after this, a booting from unauthorized devices. There are two steps to prevent this from happening. The first one: disable booting from CD and USB from the UEFI menu, which means the Unified Extensible Firmware Interface, or we can protect the entering to the Wi-Fi with a password. After this, we must protect the console. In order to protect the console, we must lock it when we are not using it. With this, we use the block command. The implementation is easy. We just write in the terminal install a block using the apt, and every time the console that must be locked, the vlock command can be run. So in this part, we write in the terminal sudo apt-get the install the vlog, and after we run the vlog, we can see that the terminal is now locked, and we press enter to unlock it. And after we press enter to unlock it, a password is required to pass to the or to well to open the terminal. And the next phase is the environment. So what elements are we using in this environment? We're using one server, two clients. One is the server running Ubuntu 19.04 with no UI, in two clients. The first one is authorized, also using the Ubuntu 19.04 desktop, and unauthorized client running the same version of Ubuntu. So in here we have our planned local area network, in which we created in a virtualized environment. In this one, we implement the server with this IP. We implement also an authorized client with the version that we already mentioned, with a different IP, and the authorized client that has access to the server through the IP given in ending in point 3. So after this, the server security. First of all, we must change the password policies. By this one, by establishing the politics, we must requisite or add a requisite to the password that are written in the common password files. For example, in order to establish the politics, we have the minimum length that is 14. We must have at least one digit and at least one special character. And after this, we add them before the line that has the pan underscore unix.so. With this script, we get the file, we find the file, we cut it, or we find the line in which the pan underscore unix so is found, and we just add password requisite into the pan underscore crack library.so, the new parameters or the new policies that we will be establishing into the common password file. So after this, we must set up backups with tar and dumping in an external HT. First, we must select the external HT. So with this implementation, we wrote a script in which we display all the external hard drives that are connected into the into the server. So we enter the number of the destination drive of the backup. We number it and we get the number. And after we get this number, we call the tar command with all the flags initialized. And here are the flags: are first, we must create a new backup archive in which we express all. Well, we have the verbose mode in order so we can log, we can view at the log, and we preserve the permissions with of the same files, and also we compress it to save um, to save space, and we specify the file name. In this case, the file name is located or is called as backup.tar.gas. Also, if notice here, we include the flag that excludes the new folder that will be compressing, and we specify there's only this backup as a one file system, and the specified directory given by the user. After this, we set permissions that all the sudo commands can only be executed in the console. So with this, we set a host alias with the name net and link it to the server by running first sudo vsudo, in which we specify that the host alias, that .net, is under the IP with this net mask. So we said all the sudoers can only execute commands under the server IP. That's the second step. We add the rule in which only the group sudo can execute sudo commands in the specified network. So creating users with corresponding privileges, we run the script to create users. We add the user, the legal user, and the Apache admin onto the this directory. And after that, we modify the sudo exers to obtain the following information through sudo vsudo. After this, we write the user alias that the sudoers are the sysadmin and the Apache admin, and we set all the corresponding commands for all these sudoers that have those privileges. Also, how can we restrict the use of SUID only to the sysadmin? One way we can achieve this is by forbidding anybody except the root from executing the chmod command. This way, no other SUID programs can be made by sudo changing with the next command. Also, we must update the OS. First, we run apt-get update to update remote repositories, and we run sudo apt-get upgrade to update all the installed packages, and we reboot to make sure that all these changes that we just made are applied. After this, what are some additional actions to secure the OS? First, install important applications in separate partitions, for example, Apache. Set the expiration date for important uses such as the Apache admin, and set expiration date for passwords, in which we determine that the minimum is 100 days and the maximum is 500 days. After this, a new set of passwords must be required. So another is checking that no other servers are running. For this, we check that no other parts in the machine are listening to others than the 80 for the web server and 22 for the SSH server. So in the next script, we write we call the netsend command with some flags, and we get all those that are listening. And in case that there are some ports rather than 80 and .22, we print the warning there are other ports listening. Instead of this, if no other ports are running, no other ports are listening, the system is secure. So after this, we set the Apache security. First, for the Apache security, protecting Apache configuration files. One way we can protect these configuration files is to create a user group that has a modification access to these files, and no other user can modify them. So the configuration files are under /etc/apache2/. So we add a new group in which it will be called the Apache admins, and we add the Apache admin to the group and also sysadmins, and we change the ownership. So after this, we must establish a virtual environment with chroot. The Apache 2 version allows the modification of the chroot directory through the creation of an empty folder with the same structure, and then adding the path to the file of the chroot dir located in the Apache configuration file. So first we echo that we'll be establishing a virtual environment. We make a new folder with the same structure. We change the ownership only to the root, and we add the chroot var slash triple W into the configuration file after the pid file. So we search in the configuration file, the pid file, we get the line, and after that we add it to the configuration file after the pid file. And we exit since we executed this shell command as a sudo. So after this, we check for scripts in Apache directory. We can regularly check for the presence of scripts in the Apache directory with this script. So if we find any shell termination in our Apache directory, we send a warning, else we say that the directory is safe. After this, we must deny the access to an authorized machine. So inside the Apache configuration file, we add these lines to explicitly tell that only the server that it must deny or blacklist the point for termination IP address, which is the unauthorized machine. So after this, what are the essential Apache modules? First, the HTTP underscore core and the mod access, dir, and mime. So after this, the security tests. What are these security tests? We first execute a sudo command as a legal user. We create new password without following the policies. And as a legal user, modify a file in the Apache configuration. We run the dummy server and run the script to other servers. And we place a shell script in the Apache 2 and run the script to detect the scripts. And we also access the web page from an authorized computer, which this should be successful. While when we access the another page from the unauthorized computer, well, this must be unsuccessful. And that's all for the presentation.